It was around Christmas time, and I was just watching TV, and the phone rings, and I pick it up, and the lady goes, is Mrs. McChesney around? And I was like, no, this is her son, but can I take a message? And she's like, well, yeah, it's her doctor's office, and just let her know that the results of her mammogram have come back. I was like, okay, will do. Now, I was like 17, so I didn't know what a mammogram was. I thought that she was going to have another baby or something. But about a few days later, I was home, laying on the couch watching TV. Hey, 17, don't judge me. And my mom comes home from work, and she's crying. And her and my dad start to hug, and they're crying. And I don't know what's going on, but I remember the results of her mammogram have come back, and I thought, well, maybe it came back positive. So my dad calls me and my brother into the kitchen, and he tells us that my mom had been diagnosed with breast cancer. And immediately I thought, I'd rather be a big brother, and I was just in shock, and that was the first time in my life where that I immediately everything wasn't about me. It was like, what must this person be going through? How could I help this person who I love so much? So that was the first time in my life where I almost became selfless, and really discovered that, how could I help this person? What must she be going through? And really trying to empathize with her. And I really tried to be strong for her. And so I kept a brave face when I was around her. But then when I went up in my room later that night, I just bawled my eyes out. So I was living in Chicago, and it was a Friday night. And one thing that I was going to Moody Church at the time, which is a great church. And we had me and my friends kind of developed our own little Friday night worship night where we just get together at somebody's house and do worship and pray. And I remember it was November one Friday, and they had me leading worship, which was a giant mistake in itself. But I remember the most impactful thing I remember about that night was that I would have people, my friends, they would pray for my mom's healing. And because at that time my mom's cancer had actually come back. It had been in remission for a while, and it had come back. And she had been in and out of the hospital with surgeries, and she was just in a lot of pain. And I always held out hope that everything was going to be okay. And so, I was just having everybody I knew pray for my mom and a healing for my mom. And I remember it was really special that night, because I really felt like a weight was lifted off. I was like, you know what? This is God's in control of this. It's in God's hands. And I felt pretty content and relief about the fact that God was in control of that night, more so than I'd ever been in the past. So I the very next day, I get a call from my dad, and he says, Ryan, we're still gonna have Thanksgiving at our house this year, so plan on that. But I gotta be honest with you. Your mom isn't getting any better, and she's not gonna get any better. And I thought, I was in shock. I was like, what? You're joking, right? Like, he would joke about something like that. He was like, no, pal, I wish I wasn't. And I didn't know what to say. I was just like, that sucks. And so I hung up the phone and just was like, God, are you kidding me with this? I mean, just the night before, we were praying for my healing for my mom, and now this happens? Are you joking me? Like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Well, stop this. And then God just reveals to me, Ryan, what do you want from me? And I was like, God, no, I'm not playing games with you right now. I'm not going to answer that question. No, don't do that. He's like, what do you want, Ryan? I want answers. Ryan, what do you want? I wanted you to heal my mom. And God was like, I am. And it took me a while to really realize what he meant by that.